and it's officially announced now. Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski is happening on UFC 284 in Australia. This is going to be set on February 12th, and it's also going to have Robert Whittaker versus Paulo Costa on the card. So far looking really good, man. And that main event is going to be a special one. Volkanovski's going to be chasing history here. Islam is trying to quickly build a legacy of his own. With a win here, not only would he have Volkanovski on his resume, but he will also tie Khabib and Tony for the longest win streak in the lightweight division's history, 12. Right now he has 11. He wins this one, he's one of the 3 guys. And if anybody's going to beat that record, it would probably be Islam. I do favor him to beat Volkanovski for sure. I think he's ultimately too big. I think Volk is going to have a hard time stopping the takedowns. Doesn't really matter which kind of takedown that Islam goes for, whether it's in the clinch using his sambo and judo skills, or he's using his more traditional wrestling from a distance. Striking wise, Islam really has nothing for Volk, unless like the mix-ups with the takedowns and the strikes gets to Volkanovski, and that can happen to anybody, especially someone who hasn't really fought many wrestlers in his career. But also, Volk has been taken down a few times by other fighters, like even Brian Ortega took him down twice. I think one of them was off catching a leg kick, which can also definitely happen. Islam is very fast in catching kicks. Something's also shown when he fought Bobby Green, caught the front kick to the body, and then chased him down into the fence. And also, Chad Mendes, who is the best wrestler that Volk fought, took him down 3 times, even though that was almost 4 years ago. It's really one of the only fights we could really go off, because Chad is like the only real wrestler that he has fought. Darren Elkins is there as well and stuff, but on this level, the Mendes fight is a really good one to look at. And Chad is tiny compared to Islam. And even though Volk can get pretty big, he did play in rugby and he weighed over 200 pounds. He's been weighing so much less these days for so many years. He's gotten really adjusted to his lower body weight. If he wants to get bigger, it might hurt him in the process. When you keep losing and gaining weight, even as you're adjusting to it, it could be a bit of a problem because this fight's happening very soon. It's in 3 months. So how much time does Volk have to gain that kind of weight and be used to it again? Not much time, and the matter of the fact is, Islam could never cut down to 145. So no matter how big Volk is going to get, he's never going to have that natural kind of strength and size comparing himself to Islam. And Islam's fought guys like Drew Dober. Drew Dober is a massive lightweight. For those who don't know, Drew Dober was the heaviest lightweight ever to enter the cage. So he weighed at 155, right? He walked into the cage at 183 pounds. There is not a fighter in UFC history in that lightweight division that has weighed as heavy as Drew Dober inside the cage. That was when Dober fought at UFC 214. And he threw around Drew Dober like he was a featherweight. Volkanovski's successes are really going to come off as feints, because if there's something that Islam hasn't fought before, it's someone who has very good feints in front of him. Makes him guess, sets traps, gets his head to move in rapid motion, and Volk can try to intercept those head movements. Usually you tend to see Islam lean away and stuff, move straight back in a line, and Volk can definitely start to pick out some openings on there, potentially even try to reach in there with a right overhand if he's able to feint a jab or a left hook in order for himself to get on the outside foot and then chase him down with the right hand. Or even feint leg kicks, because we know Islam's going to be trying to catch those. Volk has one of the best lead leg kicks in the sport. If he starts to fake those and Islam is reaching down for them, then Volk could potentially catch him with like an uppercut or something. Volk is going to have to play this game very intelligently, but also patient as well. There's going to be aggression with the feints themselves, but every feint is going to have to be purposeful. But at the end of the day, I don't see Volkanovski stopping the takedowns. Even as good as his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu defense is, he could fight off submissions and stuff like that. Islam is a different case than someone like Brian Ortega, where if he attempts a submission, and let's say Volk is able to defend it, Islam is only going to keep that dominant position on top, and not necessarily risk the position for his submission. That's something that guys like Ortega will do. They'll give up their entire position in order to catch them with something. Islam doesn't necessarily do that. He's very disciplined in his wrestling. And what this fight is also going to do is, it does leave the other lightweight contenders on standby to fight each other. This means we might be able to see something like Oliveira versus Dariush. We might be able to see Fiziev versus Gaethje. Hopefully that gets done, because we've been waiting for that fight for so long. And even the featherweight contenders. Arnold Allen should be fighting Max Holloway. There's plenty of these matchups now that need to start moving along, because there's a big opportunity here. They know when that date is. All the lightweight contenders and all the featherweight contenders know that after February 12th, it's their opportunity to claim that title shot. So they got to get something moving here, because this can really be up for the taking, especially in Oliveira's case. He just lost the belt, so he probably wants to target the most likely #1 contender and try to eliminate him so he can take his spot. And that might be Dariush. As for Arnold Allen, did he do enough to get a title shot? I think everybody should be gunning for Max Holloway right now. Josh Emmett, Allen, all these guys that are coming up there to claim their shot, they should probably target Max. And the guy who gets Max has the opportunity to beat him and then become the #1 contender there.